position of Vice Mayor, City of Prior Creek, Oklahoma.
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Nance, second Ketcher. Discussion? I'd like to say that the Council Shropshire has served very faithfully. He asks a lot of important and sometimes hard questions. He stays abreast of his duties, and I feel very confident that if in my absence, he would step in and do a wonderful job.
Eva, do you have video on?
He's working on, Dustin's working on it.
Okay.
So you got a message that the video wasn't on? Very good. We are working on it. By the way, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're having some trouble with that. We realize that it is, we do have the plans, and we're in process to repair. Call for vote?
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Abstain.
Nance,
Yes.
Item 5 on the addendum, discussion possible action regarding nomination of City Councilor Yolanda Thompson to the Budget Personnel Committee of Prior Creek City Council. Is there a vote?
motion.
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Ketcher. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes. Oh, abstain.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, discussion possible action regarding nomination of City Councilor Brianna Brakefield to the Police Fire Negotiations Committee.
Motion. Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote?
Brakefield,
Abstain.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. We'll move to item 2 on City Council agenda. Petitions from the audience. I recognize Mr. Wayne Perigo.
My name is Wayne Perigo, and I'm with the Freedom Tours.
Come to the microphone, please. Thank you, sir.
My name is Wayne Perigo. I'm with the Veterans Freedom Tours. We actually started this group. We're in the Northeast Oklahoma. We actually had a barbecue cook-off and a bike rally for next week was going to be at the fairgrounds. Well, they're not opening until the 15th. So we're looking to find out if the prior could help us find a place that we could have it at so that we can, what we do is all of our money goes toward our veterans. We took 37 to Vicksburg, and it's not our World War II and our Korea veterans, it's our Afghanistan, our Vietnam, and those guys. So, and we have a group of 80 going on a 2-night trip, 2 nights and 3 days to Washington, D.C. We had to move it till next year, but we've already had to move it once because of the COVID. But, they told us it'd be ready by the 30th, so therefore, we are trying to find a place, if you guys have a place or know of a place that we can use. We would be more than happy to use it. We do have a bike rally that will start at Orselands, and then we'll end up back here in Pryor. We have 12 teams so far for the barbecue. They're actually from Texas, Arkansas, different places. So we did it last year. We had about 200 people. So we're looking at probably having 150 bikes this year, plus our people that come in. We wanted to have it last month it was on All Forces Day. So we want to celebrate the whole veterans family, not just. So if you guys have an idea, we'd like to do that. And I think we talked to the mayor about maybe possibly doing the park if by chance it opens. So is there any questions or? And we do maintain the sanitation, all that stuff, so.
do have, for council information, I do have plans to insert at the end of the agenda on unforeseeable business action to address this.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Item 3, department head reports. Building inspector is no report. Emergency management, no report. Fire, recognized assistant chief.
We really don't have a lot, since all this, our call volume's dropped to about half what we normally run since MEST has taken over the echo level calls, but pretty much just staying hunkered down, and we did sign a deal with, Red Cross today on a smoke detector program, and they provide all the smoke detectors, and we just have to fill out a form and actually install them, so people don't really want us in their house right now, so whenever this kind of calms down, I'm sure we'll start hitting some blocks and pushing that out. Just doing some sectors, and they're free, and they got a 10-year battery in them, so
Very good.
that'll save us a little money and keep the public safe.
Very good.
Do you have any questions?
Questions?
No.
Thank you very much, James. Golf? No report today. Library. Recognized librarian Carrie Rarrett.
Hi, you guys got my statistic sheet. It's got vastly different items that we're tracking right now. Our service model has changed quite a bit at the library since this coronavirus came around. So the top two are, you're used to seeing, we had 63 people sign up for library cards in April. All of those cards were digital. We are issuing digital cards so people can use our online resources and download ebooks and audiobooks. And we had 2,314 digital items checked out from our collection, which is the highest we've had all year. So the rest of the statistics are brand new, and I had to figure out what to put in those boxes. We added 222 items to the collection. 208 of those were physical items. 14 of those were digital items. And to give you an idea of how much digital items cost libraries, those 14 items cost over $500. Publishing companies price their materials for libraries vastly different than they do for the general public because we're loaning them to people. So we spend a lot more money than the average bear would on 14 items for the digital library. We had 789 uses of our Wi-Fi. Obviously we were closed the whole month of April, so we didn't have any physical people or anybody using our physical computers. And this is down, the Wi-Fi usage is down a lot, but I was pleased that people were still taking advantage of our Wi-Fi in our parking lot. We've been posting a lot on Facebook. We had 19 new followers, which takes our followership to 1,664 people. And 1,800 people, followers or not, watched Bonnie's Fancy Pants mask making tutorial. And this is the mask that she makes, and I wear this at work. It's super comfortable and very, very cool. And then we have all kinds of other videos that we've posted as well. We're doing story times through Facebook, and you know, the video of how we're gonna open and that blooper reel. I don't know if you guys have seen my embarrassing blooper reel. But altogether, people watched almost 3,500 minutes of our videos in the month of April on our Facebook page. So this is our new world of statistics for now. We'll have more familiar statistics next month because we opened to the public yesterday. Those first 2 days went really well. We had a slow trickle of people in and have been very successful at limiting the number of people in each section. Everyone's been very understanding and gracious. We didn't have really any waiting outside the building, so that was nice. Also, quick reminder about the census. It's been put a little bit on the back burner as far as my priorities go, just because we've been trying to open the building, but we are in a competition, the city of Pryor Creek, with the other Highway 20 towns, so Claremore, Collinsville, and Skiatook, to see who can get the most responses to our census in the month of May. We still have a little bit of time left. Last time I checked, we were in third place. Yeah, we need to, so if you guys know people who haven't done their census yet, please encourage them to do so. It takes about 10 minutes. You can do it online. We can help at the library now, because we've got all the computers open, or 3 of the computers open this week. Next week we'll have 6. And then maybe we can win some bragging rights. You guys have any questions for me?
Maybe that's because most people have already done them. You know, we're ahead of that side of it.
No, we've only got, we're not to 60% response rate in prior yet.
You're not.
No, we got a ways to go.
Okay, because I know a lot of people have already done
I
it.
know, well, I've done mine. Have you done yours?
Yes.
Okay.
If you have not done your census, please do your census.
Yeah, it's super important.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Parks and Cemetery? No report. Police Department? Recognize Chief Nichols.
I wanted to make you all aware tonight that James Willard and Kevin Trammell put together information for a federal grant under the Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program, and we were awarded that grant through the District Attorney's Council here in Oklahoma for a little over $58,000. It's to go toward computers for our cars. So I just want to make you aware of that. Anybody have any questions on anything else?
Good work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Recreation Center. Recognize Rachel Sordoff.
We have the facility just about ready to open, like we're opening on Thursday. The guidelines and procedures got emailed out to all of you guys last week. I mean, we like moved a bunch of equipment around to make like maximum space. Do you guys have any questions, I guess, about the guidelines or anything? And I guess the scheduling stuff begins tomorrow. Starting tomorrow morning, people can, we'll release the link and they can use the app to schedule times to work out, or the website, or we also are offering times for them to call the rec center.
Very good. Do you need any assistance from council or from City Hall?
Not at this time.
If you do, let us know.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Street Department, no report. All right, we'll move to item 4, Mayor's Report. Presentation of health insurance options by Brown & Brown Representative Jennifer Britton.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So you should have in front of you, in addition to what was in the agenda packet, a little binder that looks like this with some details too that you might want to flip through. On the health insurance with Blue Cross Blue Shield, they came out originally with an 8% increase offer. We were able to get that down to 6%, so there's a little bit of savings. And then on top of that, also they said they would give us an additional $5,500 one-time credit off of an invoice the first couple of months of the plan year, probably August, September, in exchange for us, which is a good trade-off actually, telling your employees about the wellness programs that Blue Cross Blue Shield offers. There's no cost to the city for that, and there's no cost to the members for that, but they have a pretty robust offering, you know, of online app and activities and things people can do, flu and flu shot season services and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be talking about that in the open enrollment meetings. But for us talking to everybody about wellness and all the bells and whistles Blue Cross gets, we get another $5,500 off your bill. So it's a pretty good deal. In addition to that, we brought a couple of options. So if you'd like to flip in that binder to tab 2, you'll see that there are several options on this spreadsheet. The first column is the current plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield. The second one is the renewal offer. So in addition to that increase, also some improvements on the plan is virtual visits now, like telemedicine that's so popular. Those are free to all members. So anybody enrolled on the health plan can call telemedicine as often as they need to, 24/7, and get help that way. And then also the urgent care visits in the past have contractually said they could apply towards the members' annual deductible and 20% coinsurance. We didn't see that happen, but it was in the contracts. It was always a little bit worrisome to me that people didn't have the assurance that they had a flat copay going to urgent care, which is where we want people to go versus the ER. So that now contractually, beginning July 1st, will be a $20 copay for all members, for all urgent care visits. And that'll be all inclusive. So that's a real good improvement to the plan as well. Two options there, side by side, presented as additional options that employees could choose. So several years ago, for several years, the city had two plans that they offered. They paid 100% of the base plan for all employees, and then the employees could pay the additional cost to buy up into a richer benefit. So that's what we're modeling here, is two options like that. Option one is an HMO. HMOs are kind of a dirty word to some people, and me personally, I like my freedom and my flexibility, so not my favorite plan either. But we do have a PPO as well, presented there with a little bit smaller network, which I'll give you more detail on in a minute. But basically, the reason those plans are more expensive is because the members' out-of-pocket maximum is cut in half. Right now, if someone had some pretty catastrophic claims, the most in a year they would pay is $2,500 for all their covered medical claims through the plan. These two plans both have a $1,250 out-of-pocket, so that would cut that in half. So some folks might find it valuable to them to go ahead and pay the extra cost in addition to what the city contributes to buy into that richer plan for them or their family members. So that's why that's there. We don't have the final rates back from underwriting. Their Advantage network. Right now, it's not offered to employers who reside in Mays County. It's mostly Tulsa Metro, Oklahoma City area, but they will on exception allow that. So that's why the rates aren't back from underwriting yet. It takes a little longer to push those through. So you could, in essence, still approve offering that because it wouldn't affect the city's budget any. And then when we get the final rates, we would just share those with employees at the open enrollment meetings and have them ready to go. We did a little report, little study here, and I'll just tell you, but if you want to flip to the next sheet, the difference between the current plan, which is the preferred network PPO in the middle there, and the Blue Advantage plan, which is the bottom of the blue section, out of 284 claims filed, there was a perfect match with 267 of those. And so we looked into the details of that. That's basically 94% match rate between your current network and this proposed network. Okay, if I go too fast, stop me. The next sheet over tells you a list of all the hospitals or the physicians that build out that would not be in the Advantage network or that buy-up plan. So it was pretty obvious to me. First off, there is a Green Country ER group, 6 visits. So actually, 6 of those is all the same provider. There's a couple of chiropractors, and then just miscellaneous physicians from there.
So you're saying these right here are not part of the buy-up plan?
Correct, yes, and they have been utilized by a member in the last year. So I don't know if they're still being utilized.
So in other words, if person A wanted to buy a plan, they need to be made sure that they're not part of that.
Correct,
Right.
yeah, and that'll be in the enrollment meetings as well. We'll communicate that and hand these out and help members look up their physicians and providers online. Pretty close match though, to essentially get you down to a much lower out-of-pocket, richer benefit. Okay. And we included the HMO and the Advantage network directories for Mays County in there as well. Again, the HMO is there. It is a strong network as well. There are a couple more primary care physicians here in Pryor in the HMO network. I just think we get a lot more heartburn back from members who chose that plan because it's pretty restricted on how you use it. Accessing care sometimes can be difficult and slow, just getting through the approval processes, just from my personal experience with it.
You said that, Jennifer, you said that you would be getting data back from your underwriting on the buy-up plan. When do you anticipate?
Originally we thought 5 to 7 business days. That's a normal turnaround, but apparently this is a pretty big exception we've asked for. So they said 2 weeks from last Friday.
Okay.
How will that affect enrollment period?
We'll be okay.
You'll be
Yep,
okay?
we'll be fine. Open enrollment is the entire month of June,
Okay.
so we'll be fine. And since you aren't moving carriers, there's no delay in ID cards or
Okay.
anything like that.
Very good. Are there any other questions for Jennifer?
We did shop this out, by the way, to other carriers as well, and this was still the best options.
So the recommendation has come from Ordinance Insurance Committee to council to approve, and that's item B, discussion possible action regarding approval 2020-2021 City Health Insurance renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield with availability of an optional buy-up plan. I entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we do that with option 2, not the HMO, the PPO. Because I've talked to employees about this before, for the meeting that I missed, that I had from, most of them, I would say, nobody wanted the HMO, they wanted the PPO, so. Because you have to have pre-existing, you gotta have pre-approvals and stuff.
Yeah.
With option 2, and that give them the option, they don't wanna do it, they don't have to do it, but that's where we're at with this, yeah.
So there's a motion, option, the buy-up plan, option 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Smith. Discussion?
So with that being said, they only have the renewal plan and option 2. There's no HMO option on the table now.
No.
The option 1 with the HMO, I think our experience that, in the past, that probably caused more problems than.
Filing claims, getting reimbursed for claims, and, getting approval, because you gotta get pre-approvals, and so, when I talked, I just took a random sample of different employees about HMOs and PPOs, and I didn't find any of them that wanted an HMO back. There was nobody said, they said, we would rather have the PPO and pay a little more money for the PPO, that way we can go to our own physicians, we don't have to get pre-approvals, we can get it done.
Yeah.
That's what I found out.
Jennifer, do you see any issue with eliminating option 1 as an option?
I do not. I wouldn't offer all 3 of them, to be honest. I mean, the benefits are too close, and like you said, with the experiences of HMOs, that's what they are, is health management organization. They are managed care, and they really put the brakes on people using them, using the benefits.
Very good. Any other discussion? We have a motion, and a second. A call for vote?
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Bicker,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Cant,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chilton,
Yes.
Redfield,
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item C, discussion and possible action regarding approving Prior Main Street parklet located in the city-owned parking area, south side adjacent to Graham Avenue, east side of Yorktown Bank, to include installation of removable bollards as a barrier to the existing driveway. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion
I'll second.
Smith, second Breakfield. Would recognize Ms. Ariana Durr for presentation.
Okay, thank you all so much for your time. So real quick, I just wanted to give you all a recap. I know there was some curiosity in the public of why we chose this specific place or location. So I just wanted to remind everybody that we initially came here straight from the IQC report that decided the location in the alleyway. And the reason why they did that was because it was just a natural fit with the interactive mural already. It was already a place where people were coming, so that's why they chose that location. But after the last meeting, we considered all of the recommendations that were thrown at us at locations, and we know that the public was concerned that the old Boomerang location didn't get picked. And so I just wanted to remind everybody what this grant is about. If you'll do the next slide, please. So this is a quick action grant, and so the timeline that we had when we got the IQC report, it was gonna have to be a really quick turnaround to get quotes and everything. So with that specific Boomerang location, or past Boomerang location, we would have had to pull in engineers and other stuff, and that would have taken time. And so in addition to that, because of what it would take to get that space up to code, we don't know how long it would have taken for that project to be implemented. In this specific grant, the project has to be implemented by December of this year. So in the future, we are down to partner with the city or whoever wants to partner to look for grants for that specific location. But just FYI to make it clear to you guys and to the public of why that decision was made. And so here is the location right now, right next to Yorktown, and this is what it looks like right now. And this is the rendering that Brick Rouge so kindly did as an in-kind project. And so as Jenny's gonna point out in the budget, but you can see the bollards are there to block off the traffic. The brick that you see is actually stamped concrete, so it looks like brick, but it's really concrete, so it's way cheaper, makes it really nice. And so because it can't be driven on is why we had to add the bollards, but it'll include a pergola, string lights, seating, a trash can, things like that. So we're really excited, and Jenny's gonna take you through the budget and everything else.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so if you can kind of visualize, which I don't know if you have in front of you, what the rendering looks like. So this is just a breakdown of what we got quotes for and what we turned into AARP on the 15th to be able to get 100% funding from them. So as she mentioned, the stamped, well, one thing that first I want to kind of back up. We tried to get all of our quotes, or as many as we could, from local businesses and local people. Some we weren't able to, but a large chunk we were. So the stamped concrete is actually from out of Tulsa, but they're gonna come, like she said, and do a concrete look on top. I forget what it's called, but I think it's called the herringbone print, brick herringbone. And so that's gonna be like a nice crossed red brick that's gonna be able to be walked on. But then also for safety of that, just safety of people being there, and also to kind of preserve the look of that, there's gonna be removable bollards that I'll talk about here in a second. So the pergola and the tables and also the poles, they are all from a local company, Monty Littlefield with M&M Properties. They're also a Main Street partner. So they are going to be able to customize that specific to what we need for proper seating. It's going to be a 10 by 20 pergola, so plenty of space underneath it. And then the tables are ones that are, the tables and chairs are going to be connected in a bench style, and these would be able to be converted from a table to a bench at any time. So all three of the tables that we're going to put out there could be converted, moved, however we wanted to transition them at that time. He's also doing matching poles for the string lights to be able to connect from the pergola to the poles. To the west side of where we're going to do this. We didn't want to have to bother the owner there at any time now or in the future, so that's why we wanted to have these freestanding poles that we could connect everything to. Part of the lights and poles, some of the in-kind things that are provided is gonna be from MUB, and they agreed to do the installation of the lights and any electrical work that might need to be done there for future events to be held there for food truck hookups or anything like that in kind. And then also the city of Pryor talking about the bollards, they are removable, so they could be removed at any time if we needed them. But then 2 on the south side to kind of block the driving access there, and then 8 on the north side to just help with safety of people parking in that parking lot. And then also some other in-kind things that the city, that you all are going to help us out with would be redoing the parking stripes there. That way it's really obvious that there's still parking. I know in the OU IQC study, they found that people did not think that there was enough parking, so if we can remark those and just kind of reiterate that there is parking there, we think that would be really helpful to complement this area. And then the next thing, we were just gonna do some other, it's totally fine, you can, like, yeah, you're good. So we were gonna do the interlocking frames, different things that we were going to be able to get just to kind of go in there. That would be super easy. And then greenery done by someone local as well. So the timeline for this, we're gonna find out. They emailed us the day that we submitted it, and they said that we would find out by the end of June if we were recipients, which I'm gonna say that we are. So, and then we would receive the funds in August. I think they said August 18th, and then we would have until December to be able to complete all the projects, and everyone that we're working with that would be contracted for this is aware of that timeline, and they feel that they can get that done in that length of time. You can go ahead and go to the next one. So just a reminder, this is one small quick action project that's going to complement a big picture. So there's X's here, and those are just kind of tourism areas that are either places of interest now, whether it's a mural or it's something that we're hoping to aim for in the future. Not just Main Street, but Hope and the Arts and Humanities Council and the Chamber. Anyone else that I'm not including, these are just big picture things that we want to eventually create a space in downtown that's walkable and inviting, that's a little bit spaced out for people to want to come and stop and spend their time, and in turn shop locally. So I think that's it.
Is this a reimbursable grant? Where you have to spend the money before you get reimbursed, or they just give you a check?
I believe like it's a check, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a check, but we'll have to verify
Yeah.
for extra. And I just also wanted to clarify the city in-kind, we know we originally said it's 100% funded, and it is, but the in-kind, as some of you know who work with grants, score higher if there's in-kind, in the grant application. It's just the way it is. So if they see that there's partners invested in it already, then we're likely to get funded. So just FYI.
Make sure you put mark handicap parking,
For sure. Good point. Thank you for that.
so. You'll find out though if it's reimbursable or not if you just get the check.
Yeah.
I'm pretty I think we read that they fund it
Yeah.
beforehand,
Good.
but I don't wanna.
If
say
not,
that
if not, I'm sure that we can come up with something creative to make that happen.
Good. I like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Well, I will creatively thank you, so.
I'm excited about this project. You guys have clearly put a lot of work into this, and it shows, and I'm excited to see how this plays out.
There have been so many positive comments that have come through Facebook, have come to my phone. Lots of positive comments about it. Good job. We appreciate it.
Thanks, thank you.
Call for vote?
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Item D on the agenda, discuss and possible action regarding removing from the table item 2 of the addendum to the May 5th, 2020 council agenda. That is the item that we originally considered with the parklet, and at the last council meeting, we tabled that, so it is appropriate to bring that off the table and then actually vote no on that. If it's appropriate for me to say that. So that's the reason why this item is on there, because it was tabled at the previous meeting. Is there a motion to bring off the table?
Make that motion.
Motion
second.
Smith, second Brakefield. Any other discussion about that?
So we need to vote this down.
We have no reason to vote yes on this item. The only reason we brought it off the table was for protocol regarding process. Any other discussion? Call for vote?
Ketchum,
No.
Shropshire,
Nope.
Vance,
No.
Smith,
No.
Chipwood,
No.
Wakefield,
No.
Trammell,
If we vote taking this off the table, you have to vote yes, wouldn't you, Kim? Yes.
Oh, that is correct. We are voting to take it off
The
the table.
table, you'd have to vote yes.
Then we can vote it down.
No,
we
then you
can
could vote it down. That's
Thank you,
correct.
thank you, Council Trammell, I appreciate that.
Okay.
So, where are we?
Guess we're voting to take it off the table.
We need to
You had a
revote.
motion to remove it from the table, so just start out with your roll call.
So we'll start out with the roll call again, please.
we're just canceling the.
Yeah, well,
That's correct.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Motion carries. It is off the table. I will entertain a motion then to consider what has been taken off of the table. Did I do that right?
I would just do a motion to reject the first
Very good.
proposal.
Motion, is there a motion to reject?
Yeah, I don't last agenda, whatever it read, and be done with it.
Yes.
Make the motion to
I'm sorry, I
reject.
don't have that.
Yeah, I understand, but that's just something.
Available to
that-
read.
We know what it is, and so.
There's a motion, Chitwood. Is there a second? Smith? Thank you. Call for vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Vance,
Yes.
Smith,
Are we voting yes or no?
Voting to
It is a motion to
Remove.
reject.
To
so-
reject.
Yeah,
Yes.
you'll vote yes.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Petra,
Yes.
What we did, we rejected her first proposal over at the other location.
Yeah.
That is correct.
That's correct, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we try not to create a zoo at the city council meeting.
It's a lot more fun, though.
It is.
They'd have liked it, they'd had two of them.
Creates a little levity. No one would reject the levity. Item E, discussion and possible action concerning authorization by the city to the prior Economic Development Trust Authority to proceed with development of a proposed plan for the development of a regional sports complex on 173.1 acres, more or less, of land deeded by Tom Giles to the city, generally located north of 480 Road and south of 470 Road and east of Highway 69. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Nance, second Smith. Discussion.
Is this the plan that we have in the packet designed by Clellan Engineering? Is that what we have for a guide? It's not the exact plan, but it's a guide that was put together. Is that what this is?
Yes, it is the guide, it is to be used as a guide. This was created in 2015. I presented this to Economic Development Trust Authority last week, and they agreed that they would like to have this as a project. Again, this is only a guide.
Right.
And so
Is this in the flood zone?
part of it is in a flood zone.
Parts of it in a floodway. Parts of it's in a floodway.
Any structures are gonna be an issue?
No.
No, there would not.
Look at
So-
what it might do to properties on down, if it might flood them out?
So, as design would happen, all of that would be taken into consideration. So, what would go from here would be, letting the Economic Development Trust Authority, go ahead and engage in developing plans. So, I would anticipate, and we have a trust authority, chair here tonight, but I would anticipate that, we even would form a task force and ask the citizens for participation in what they would like. We need to figure that out.
I had a citizen call with concern because of a flood zone issue,
Uh-huh.
that it would flood their property more.
Mr. Mayor, can I answer part of that?
Sure.
What this will do exactly, when you go north on Elliott Street, at the curve right there, you know, there's an area right there when you go to the curve through that. This plan creates a detention facility that comes off Elliott Street. It will help the flooding. It will hold water back before it goes underneath Salt Branch going to the west. As you know, that water comes off Salt Branch, goes underneath the railroad track, and when it gets in the railroad bridge, it gets into Dr. Nunley's house. This right here will create a retention pond in that one area, okay? And at one time, the Cherokee Nation was willing to partner with that flood area to put in places where they have their Native American games through previous administration in that area, okay? So this would actually help that area because all that water going down Elliott Street to the north, that's gonna go down, you'll create a ditch and it'll go down there in that area right there by, I think it's Chris Kernut's place, okay? There'll be a pond right there in that area right there to hold that water. That's what the design was originally, in order, then you'd slow release it, less like the school did over on Roosevelt, like the city did over on 14th Street. We could control the flow of water going in to Salt Branch.
So all of those plans would be yet to be developed.
That's correct. but-
So things that are going on that property right now is Municipal Utility Board has plans to build a sewer line that would extend north up to the Ray Sherman property.
Right.
Also, we are carrying out plans for cleaning up all of that property, all of that drain behind Dr. Nunley's house and also behind Chris Kernut's house. So those are already plans that are going forward in action now. So regarding the flood part of the concern, all of those things would have to be addressed through design plans going forward. So all we are doing today, or all we were proposing that we do today, is to encourage and hand that, basically hand that over to the Economic Development Trust Authority to develop plans. And let me remind council and citizens that Economic Development Trust Authority can only take action that benefits the city of Pryor. And whatever action they would recommend, it would come to council for approval. So it's not like we're handing something over to them and they can do what they want to do with it. We're handing something over to them and they're taking responsibility to develop plans. So I wanted to make that clear. Yes, ma'am?
I apologize. And I know this is probably more fitting for the next item, but I want to bring it up since we're talking about it, is I've had people concerned with where the funding is going to come for a $15 million sports complex, especially when there's several other projects going on right now that some of them haven't even got to be actually started.
So my vision about that, so Fred, you're reading me eye to eye there.
You go ahead, and I'm just here to answer any questions, but I could address some of that too.
Very good.
If you want me to, Mayor.
Very good. My vision about that has been for some time, that the city of Pryor, in my opinion, probably shouldn't do this on their own. We should do this with partners, with the county, with perhaps other towns in the county, and giving them an opportunity to participate with this. I'm not sure the city of Pryor needs to do this on their own. If this is a sports complex, it's going to be something that's used by everyone in the county, and perhaps those who would come to our town from outside the county. So we have the possibility to engage other entities like the county, like Cherokee Nation, who have already expressed interest in the past. There are other towns who would like perhaps to participate. We don't know that unless we pursue it, unless we give it a try. And does our town need a sports complex? I mean, that Ms. Brakefield, that might be a question that we should ask. Does our town need a sports complex? Well, you ask those who participate in the sports, and they get pretty excited about it. So I look at it as an opportunity to pursue development of the property that was contributed by Mr. Giles. Mr. Giles had some desires to accomplish with this property, and it was for the development of our youth and our young people. And so that certainly meets the requirement of Mr. Giles. I'd call on Mr. Sordahl, if you'd like to make any comments at all.
Well, this helps you can understand me for a second.
Please step to the microphone, sir.
We're just things are going to have to be addressed. And I'm going to put this in the form, and it'll drive Rachel crazy because she's heard this from me too many times. It's, what's the best way to cross Fox River? It's to wait till you get there. And a lot of these questions, we're not there yet. Yeah, we do have to comply with all those. Yeah, we do have the funding issues, and I do agree with the mayor. We'd certainly like to fund with other people and get partners, but even if we get partners, there's still going to be a significant amount of money that has to come from the city of Pryor. My point is, if I agree with the mayor, if we don't try, it never happens. We have a plan that's been sitting there since however long, Jimmy. Had a $14 million price tag, and I think it got thrown to the side because, well, we can't do that.
Because we didn't have the funds.
Well, yeah, we can do it.
I said, well, because back then we didn't have the funds.
Yeah, and it can be funded.
Yeah.
I'm part of an organization that just a few years ago, we would have been told, no, you cannot pass an $85 million bond issue. But we did that. And so there's ways to get these funds. And so, and in this kind of complex, we had a number of people come before us with a lot of needs, a lot of wants, a lot of infrastructure that has been not taken care of for decades. in a complex like, and thought they would be able to get money from this last bond issue. That's probably not gonna happen. This type of complex would take care of so many of those issues and those wants that came before us, and you've all heard them before. So, we think we can develop this, as the mayor has said. We're not gonna develop and then go say, hey, see what we did? We want to put together plans of development and bring it to you. If that works, we want to then put together plans of funding and bring that to you. But I think we just want to do with the spirit of, yes, it can be done. So, yeah. Anyway, we appreciate your help. If you do this, we appreciate the opportunity to give to us, to see what we can bring back to you. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Other discussion?
Would this include moving the soccer fields there as well?
It possibly could. Also, could still possibly utilize the soccer fields we have.
Yeah.
So it has something in combination. You also want something that's enough so you, if you wanted to have tournaments, bring in other, so yeah, maybe utilize that too. So it won't necessarily get rid of that because I don't see any reason to do that. But we'll have to see what the people think.
So I've asked, I asked part of the soccer association management that question. They said, yeah, the game fields and the sports complex and practice fields where the fields are right now, and said we can utilize all of that. That's what their notion was. Other discussion?
I believe there's a large sporting community here, and I think that if we can make this so that it is a viable plan, it would be a good opportunity, especially if we can get alternative partners to jump in and help with this.
Very good. Call for vote?
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Item F, discussion possible action concerning authorization by the City of Pryor with potential area and regional government and nonprofit entities for possible joint venture in the development of a regional sports complex on 173.1 acres, more or less, of land deeded by Tom Giles to the city, generally located north of 480 Road, south of 470 Road, east of Highway 69. Is there a motion?
Make that
motion.
Motion Chitwood, second Shropshire. Discussion? We've already had some discussion about this. Asking our Economic Development Trust Authority to champion that cause with trying to acquire memorandums of understanding, developing memorandums of understanding with other entities, not leaving anybody out with the opportunity to participate. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Item G, discussion and possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, 313 North Van, lot numbered 3, and the north 25 feet of lot numbered 4 in block numbered 2 of Pryor Original. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. This is one of the properties that we're considering, and we're going through a process here tonight with several properties, trying to declare them surplus status. And then we will move to another part of the process. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. Excuse me. Item H, discussion possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, 110 North Row, lot numbered 8 in block numbered 11 of prior original. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second?
Motion Chitwood, second Shropshire. Discussion?
I'd like to recommend that we, since these properties are all going the same direction, that you just go ahead and read them and then just vote on all of them. Is that possible?
I don't think you can.
Not with the way the agenda's.
That's the way the agenda's written.
It's not on consent agenda.
I appreciate that, though. Great thought. Other discussion? Call for vote.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chilwood,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item I, discussion possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, 201 South Edith, lot numbered 2 in block numbered 57 of prior original. Is there a motion?
Make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Is there discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chilwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item J, discussion possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, South Edith, south 80 feet of lot numbered 11 in block numbered 57 of prior original. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Is there discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chilwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item K, discussion possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, 231 South Edith, south 80 feet of lot numbered 11 of block numbered 57 of the Landrum addition. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Nance. Discussion? Call for vote.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chilwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item L, discussion possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, 714 South Adair, lot numbered 9 of block numbered 5 of the South Prior Edition. Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Motion Choya, Shropshire, second Ms. Nance. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Wakefield,
Sorry.
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Item M, discussion possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, 203 North Indianola, lot numbered 23 of block numbered 20 of the Whitaker addition. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chilwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item N, discussion possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, South Orphan, lot numbered 1 of block numbered 39 of the W.T. Whitaker addition. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chilwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item O, discussion possible action concerning declaration of surplus status of the following described property currently held in title by the city, 205 South Indianola, lots J and K in block numbered 39 of the W.T. Whitaker addition. Is there a motion?
Make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Petra,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item P, discussion and possible action concerning conveyance of quitclaim deed for the city of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma, to the Pryor Economic Development Trust Authority for purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment, to wit, 313 North Van, lot numbered 3, and the north 25 feet of lot numbered 4 in block numbered 2 of Pryor Original. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith.
Why do we need to do a quick deed if we already have a title?
It's conveyance. What we're doing here is conveying the properties to the Economic Development Trust Authority. So the Economic Development Trust Authority receives that, and then they market the property, and they'll actually convey the property and do any title work or whatever's struck with the buyer. They'll be able to work with local builders, enter into agreements for the redevelopment. I mean, they could apply for grant money to help with development on these lots, so.
Do we need to put something on the deed like we have to when utility department in the city go into property together for the use of
No, we don't. The trust document takes care
the
of
trust
all that.
indenture that we filed? Okay. Yeah.
So basically, that money or whatever will go into an account that we have to basically approve before anything is done, right?
It'll go in, it'll be funding for the trust authority, and then the council is gonna at some point give some direction on, do we leave that money there and allow them to use that for other purposes such as redevelopment of Main Street, things like that. I mean, it could even go towards the sports complex that you're talking about. I mean, the slate is clean right now. But this will put the property in their name, let them market it, and come up with a plan on how to deal with these properties from now on for the benefit of the city.
But anytime we do anything, come before the council for what project where it's going to, correct?
That is correct. That is correct. So the Economic Development Trust Authority, we're in the process of building budget for the next fiscal year. So if you can maybe picture a timeline, the next Economic Development Trust Authority meeting will be the second Monday in June. In between that time, proposal for the budget, the next year's fiscal year budget, will have an Economic Development Trust Authority line item. There'll also be a revenue account that is also created so that the Economic Development Trust Authority will be able to act. They will have certain expenses. So when these properties are sold, the deeds will need to be perfected. There perhaps will be expenses in that regard. So picture that timeline, if you will. The EDTA will be considering how they will offer these properties for sale, or offer these properties for whatever purpose, and then we'll move forward. What this does, it creates a plan for us to dispose, or for us to take properties that the city gains by whatever means. Perhaps a property is deeded over to the city as a gift. Perhaps it goes through an abatement process. So we have this ability now through the EDTA to have a plan, and then to allow for some funding to happen from those properties, to also take the properties and produce something useful for the citizens on these properties. So
So does that give them title to the property, and do we have to bring up the abstracted date when we do this?
Title, when we do the deed, it'll be owned by the trust. It will not be owned by the city of Pryor. It will be owned by the EDTA, the Economic Development Trust Authority for the city of Pryor. They'll have title. We do not have to do anything as far as bringing up abstracts, clearing title. That all goes to the EDTA for them to work with potential buyers and make deals on who pays for what on perfecting title.
So if, I'm just trying to get clear in my head, so if they have the title to the property, we have no say-so in the property, but they actually own the property at that point in
Your
time.
say-so is governed by the trust indenture. We have created that trust. It's to be operated for the benefit of the city. They can't just go out willy-nilly doing whatever they want, but that they're the business end of dealing with the properties once we've conveyed it to them.
Is there an approximate money value of these surplus properties, what that might total approximately? I know we have no way of knowing, but.
Yes, I don't have any way of knowing that. Some of these properties, the city has expense. Some of these properties, perhaps significant expense in tearing down houses and scraping the lots or whatever it might be. The fact is, we have continued expense in mowing the properties and maintaining the properties. And so those expenses go on. So to have an avenue to make these properties productive for the city is the intent.
Is there not a way, and I'm just throwing things, is there not a way for us to retain the title, sell the properties, put the money in a special account to the EDTA for that? And I don't know, that's beyond my legal boundary, you know what I'm saying? So, but looking at it on the accounting side, I would think that it would be on the accounting side.
So one of the reasons that we formed the Economic Development Trust Authority was because those trust authorities have more room to deal than the municipality itself. We've also placed them in that position to redevelop. I mean, that's what that authority is for, is to utilize the expertise of the people that are on that and the people that they may engage with in the future on these projects, to take these properties, which now basically are just a maintenance to the city, and have a group that will engage in redevelopment of those. The proper way to do that is, you can have a trust but nothing in it, so it doesn't function. We created that trust to function, so now we're funding that trust. We're funding it with properties at this point in time for them to manage, market, and sell. And then we will work with that trust authority on how those funds are going to be treated, whether any of that money is going to come back to the city or whether you're going to decide to basically tell the trust authority, set up accounts for the trust authority to keep that money in order to perform on future properties that they may receive, and also in order for them to perform on things like the redevelopment of Main Street and projects that might be handed off to them.
Other discussion? There's a motion on the floor. Call for vote?
Redfield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Pitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item Q, discussion possible action concerning conveyance by quitclaim deed from the City of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma to the Pryor Economic Development Trust Authority for purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment, to wit, 110 North Row, lot numbered 8 in block numbered 11 of Pryor Original. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second?
Motion Chitwood, second Nance. Discussion? Hearing none. Call for vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Pitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Redfield,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item R, discussion possible action concerning conveyance by quitclaim deed to the City of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma to the Prior Economic Development Trust Authority for purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment to wit 201 South Edith, lot number 2 in block number 57 of prior original. Is there a motion?
Make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote?
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item S, discussion possible action concerning conveyance by quitclaim deed from the city of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma to the Pryor Economic Development Trust Authority for purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment to wit 231 South Edith, south 80 feet of lot numbered 11 in block numbered 57 of prior original. Motion?
Make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item T, discussion possible action concerning conveyance by quitclaim deed of the city of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma to the Pryor Economic Development Trust Authority for purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment to wit 231 South Edith, south 80 feet of lot numbered 11, block numbered 57 of the Landrum addition. Is there a motion?
Make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item U, discussion possible action concerning conveyance of quitclaim deed for the city of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma to the Pryor Economic Development Trust Authority for purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment to wit 714 South Adair, lot numbered 9 of block numbered 5 of the South Pryor addition. Is there a motion?
Make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote?
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item V, excuse me. Discussion possible action concerning conveyance by quitclaim deed from the city of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma to the Pryor Economic Development Trust Authority purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment to wit 203 North Indianola, lot numbered 23 of block numbered 20 of the Whitaker addition. Is there a motion?
Make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Item W, discussion possible action concerning conveyance by quitclaim deed for the city of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma to the Pryor Economic Development Trust Authority for purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment to wit South Orphan, lot number 1 of block numbered 39 of the W.T. Whitaker addition. Is there a motion?
Make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. You know, I look out there and nobody's asleep. Actually,
Yeah, it's about there.
Actually, I saw Mr. Houston yawn a while ago. Thank you very much for that.
Kleenex? I'll go get you.
Item X, discussion possible action concerning conveyance by quitclaim deed from the city of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma to the Pryor Economic Development Trust Authority for purposes of EDTA marketing the property for redevelopment to wit 205 South Indianola, lots J and K in block numbered 39 of the W.T. Whitaker addition. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote?
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketchum,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5, City Attorney's Report. I entertain a motion to enter public hearing.
Make that motion?
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. We're now entering public hearing on appeal of city hearing officer findings and order determining property at 224 Southeast 10th Street, Pryor, Oklahoma, to be a dilapidated structure and ordering its abatement. This is a public hearing.
You should all have a packet of information regarding the public hearing that we're getting ready to conduct. This property has been found by the hearing officer appointed by the council to be a dilapidated structure. The hearing officer ordered the structure to be removed, and the landowner is entitled to an appeal of that decision if he so chooses, and the landowner filed an appeal. So the way we'll proceed at this point in time, since it is an appeal by the landowner of the decision of the hearing officer, we will allow the landowner to present his case to you on why he believes the appeal should be over, or why he believes that his appeal should be sustained, which would be the overturning of the hearing officer's decision that the property is dilapidated and should be removed. A couple of things I want to hit before the landowner addresses you. The first thing in this packet is the statute which governs the proceeding, and that's in Title 11's 22-112. The highlighted sections of that will indicate on the second page, under paragraph C, if you go to the second page of that statute, item C defines what a dilapidated building is under the law. So the landowner's appeal is that this building is not dilapidated and does not fit the definition of a dilapidated structure.
Very, very good. Would the landowner like to come to the microphone? Welcome, Mr. Couch.
Sir, I had a report from a structural engineer that said the house was repairable. I went to the Cherokee Nation and they have they put me on a waiting list to have the house rebuilt. Yard mowed, I've painted the outside, I've done all I can to make the outside look presentable. There is some repairs that need to be done on the inside. But right now, it's dry inside, and it's dried in, and I really am doing the best I can. I believe I can get it rebuilt in time.
How much time has expired since the property has been in the abatement process?
I'm not really sure. But I really have.
I think it's been probably close to a year.
Yeah.
So there was a fire in the structure?
Yes.
There was an attic fire, and that damaged 2 bedrooms on one end.
What needs to be done?
The inside needs to be rebuilt.
Yeah. It needs to be rewired.
New sheetrock, new wire. The floor is pretty much okay.
Yeah.
The walls are okay.
What has been the delay thus far?
He hasn't had a job until February.
Yeah.
Have there been any improvements made on the property since February?
Yes.
And what are those improvements?
Just cleaning up general around it.
actually, I think his little note tells you how many dumpsters he's filled. 2 dumpsters.
So as far as,
Wherever it was.
as far as participating then with any reconstruction, none of that has been done to this point, is that correct?
Only the roofing.
The roof's been rebuilt.
Okay, was it, did you do it on your own? Was it done by a roofer?
Yes, I did it.
You mentioned that you're on a waiting list for Cherokee Nation. What type of program?
Rehab, housing rehab.
What would they do within the house?
They will put it back in living condition.
How long is the wait list on that?
They didn't say anything about that, did they?
You got any documentation from them? Do you have it with you?
Yes, I do.
One of the difficulties he's had is the housing authority office has been closed because of the virus. So
Thank you,
it's
sir.
It's been very difficult to work with. So it's been by exchange of correspondence and notes by mail.
What do you see, Mr. Ketcher?
Just says here that this is not an approval letter, and that when his name gets near the top of the list, then they'll contact him again. So there's nothing here that, like I said, it says right here, it's not an approval letter.
Okay.
Now, there are some things that they have to do before, for example, one of the things I think is a background check. Another thing that they have to do.
What was the date on that letter?
April 23rd.
Did you say 23 April?
Yes.
That all occurred after, I think, the last hearing that Zach had. Larry has had some bad experiences, at least 4 different times individuals have attempted to help him, and none of it worked out. 3 of those times, I think they were gonna get him with the Cherokee Nation housing people. Somehow, nobody knew how to do anything.
Who were those people?
Huh?
Who were those people?
I don't have any idea. They were people that,
These are the people I go to church with.
Okay.
You mentioned there's other things that have to be done for the Cherokee Nation for this process to be completed. Is that being held up on your end, or is that being held up on Cherokee Nation end, or what's the
see,
problem?
this just occurred.
Okay.
Have you contacted your counselor, Cherokee Nation counselor, to see if you could expedite the process? knowing that-
Denise Taylor.
And has she
She's
got back?
aware of it.
And she's aware, has she written any letters before? You got any correspondence from her?
I don't have anything from her except some text messages.
Okay.
Has any cleanup been done on the inside?
A lot has been hauled out.
Yeah, I have hauled a lot out. I've taken the sheet rock out of about 3 walls, 4 walls.
I'm talking about like all the miscellaneous stuff, like these bicycles and
Oh, yeah,
all that.
There you go, Yolanda.
I'm assuming that the utilities have been turned off, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the utility's been turned off the whole time.
Very good.
Does the city have any money? Does the city have any money tied up in this project at this time?
The only funds that the city would have, to my knowledge, is in going through the dilapidation process. So the city has not done any cleanup on the property. All the city has done is gone through and had the hearings, and you've appeared at the abatement hearings, correct? Yes.
Yeah, I've done a lot of cleanup during this year.
Right, but as far as expenses, to answer Council Smith's question, what expenses have the city had, and no expenses as of yet.
I guess the part that I'm having trouble with here, if you go to our agenda packet on page 78, this is your engineering report that was given. It says this inspection does not include probing and/or inspection of deteriorated structural components as described in Oklahoma statutes 158, semicolon 70, as regulated by the Construction Industries Board. So if they didn't do any probing or inspection of anything that was deteriorated, how did you get a report that says that it's repairable, or they're going to be able to?
Let me explain what that was.
Thank you, sir.
Could you step to the microphone, sir? Thank you very much.
When the engineer was in there, there were some boards around closets that had char on them, where the fire had come down and charred them. He said those appeared to him, although he didn't probe them, those were going to have to be removed and replaced. So that's what he's talking about on that.
I'm almost sure that I saw some in the ceiling, the ceiling, the rafters and the joist. I think I saw some charring on some of that wood up there too.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about.
Right.
They didn't probe those. He said they'd have to be replaced.
So he can tell that they're structurally intact without probing or doing any kind of a test. He's pretty good.
Any other discussion? Any questions?
I'd just like to state that since the city at this time doesn't have any money involved in this project, I would like to see him go forward and try to get this building put back together in a livable state.
You got something going on there. That's okay. Mine does it all the time.
The property has gone through the abatement process, and the abatement process has determined that it needs to, recommends that it would continue through the process to abatement. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, if there's nothing further from them,
They're in the
then after
pictures.
they're done, I'll present the city's
Excellent.
positions on it.
Thank you for that. Anything else?
I think what we're asking for is that give some time for the Cherokee Nation to proceed. Is what we would like to see.
Very good. Thank you very much. Entertain a motion.
I think, no motion yet.
No motion? Okay.
This is the second part of the hearing, and
Yeah.
after we're done,
We'll exit the hearing then.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is take you through the packet, review all the evidence that we've got here. When we get to the photographic evidence, I think that those photographs, when I saw yours, it doesn't look very good. I can circulate the photographs that I've got, which the copies were made from. I think that maybe help you see the conditions a little bit better.
Photographs were taken March the 24th.
I'm sorry?
Photographs were taken on March the 24th.
They've been taken over a span of time. Some of
Okay.
them were March 24th
Okay.
of this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some were last year.
Okay. When we get to them, if you have a photo that you can't really see very good, tell me, so that I can distribute one that shows up. I'm gonna pretty much follow the outline that are the first two pages of that. And first, I wanna look at the statute, Title 11, Section 22-112. On the first page of the statute, you'll see that paragraph numbered A2. It's the second highlighted paragraph. And it says that a hearing shall be held by the governing body to determine if the property is dilapidated and has become detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the general public and the community, or if the property creates a fire hazard which is dangerous to other property. So these are criteria that you're supposed to be looking at in deciding whether it's dilapidated under these criteria. The second page is the page that I directed your attention to right off the bat, and that is under paragraph C on the second page of that statute, indicates that a dilapidated building means, A, a structure which through neglect or injury lacks necessary repairs or otherwise is in a state of decay or partial ruin, to such an extent that the structure is a hazard to the health, safety, or welfare of the general public. B, dilapidated means a structure which is unfit for human occupancy due to the lack of necessary repairs and is considered uninhabitable or is a hazard to the health, safety, and welfare of the public. C, which does not apply in this situation, it's a structure that's unsecured as defined by 22-112.1, or D, which does not apply in this case, which has been boarded up, boarded and secured for more than 18 consecutive months. Or E, a structure declared by the body constituting a public nuisance, which it does qualify according to our hearing officer under that. So the decision that you will render when we're all done here, going back to the outline, the decision to be made by you is either, one, affirm the decision made by the hearing officer, leaving in place the previous order entered by the hearing officer, or two, reverse that decision made by the hearing officer, which would be a finding that the property is not dilapidated, and therefore the order of the hearing officer would be vacated, done away with. Or three, you could affirm the dilapidation, that is, find that it is a dilapidated structure, and you could vary the time periods for abatement of the structure. Specifically, what the hearing officer found, if you look at the order, was that he found that it was a dilapidated structure under I, the structure through neglect or injury lacks necessary repairs or otherwise is in a state of decay or partial ruin to such an extent that the structure is a hazard to the health, safety, or welfare of the public. Two, that the structure is unfit for human occupancy due to a lack of necessary repairs and is considered uninhabitable or is a hazard to the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Three, that the structure creates a fire hazard which is dangerous to the property. And four, that the condition of the property constitutes a detriment or hazard and the property would be benefited by the removal of the structure. The hearing officer ordered that the demolition start, because when you find it's dilapidated and you order its abatement, you're supposed to order landowner when they are to start removing and when they are to complete removing. And so the hearing officer ordered that the demolition begin on or before April the 27th of 2020 and that it should be completed on or before May the 27th of 2020. Then this appeal was filed. If you'll look at tab number 5, tab number 5 is the inspection report that the landowner was referencing that they had performed by Knox. I think the significant thing to note about that report on the behalf of the hearing officer is the second paragraph, the highlighted text that says this structure has been damaged by fire. The following must be accomplished before the structure would be considered safe for human occupancy. Recall the definition of a dilapidated structure is one that is uninhabitable. So the report is indicating that the structure's condition on the date of the report, which was March 20 of 2020, that the structure is uninhabitable. The next thing, and these are matters that of the record, so everything that I'm presenting to you is stuff that the hearing officer had when he made his decision. That's how this appeal works, as we look at what the hearing officer had. The second item that you have in here, which is under tab 6, is a report done by Walter Stout, who was a former official here in the city. This report was done by Walter Stout January the 18th of 2020. Some people who have been helping the landowner through the processes contacted Mr. Stout, asked him to inspect the premises and to give a report. Mr. Stout's report in January, in that first opening line, indicates that the structure's been damaged by fire. The following must be accomplished before the structure would be considered safe for human occupancy. Again, the significant thing there is tying that back to the statute that says that a dilapidated structure is one that is not habitable. Therefore, at the time of the inspection, it was not habitable. The next item that the hearing officer had to review were the citizen complaints. Tab number 7 is the first one. Note that that report is dated May the 29th of 2018. We are now in May of 2020. So this was 2 years ago. And the resident was complaining that things from the burned out house are sitting out in the yard, the dumpsters on the property, and blowing debris everywhere. The next item you have it's not numbered, it's just the next sheet, and that is a citizen's complaint by a Miss Purdue. That complaint is dated July the 25th of 2019. So the first citizen complaint was May of 18. The next citizen complaint is July of 19. So not quite a year ago now, but a year after the first report. And the complaint was regarding the burned out house. The next item that you have is under tab 8. Tab 8 is a ticket from the Pryor Police Department to Mr. Couch. It's regarding the building, which is dangerous to the public health. This is the house. This ticket was March 14 or 15. Looks like he wrote 14 and then wrote 15 over the top of it, of 2019, regarding the condition of this house as posing a danger to the public. The records from the proceeding indicate that Mr. Couch did not show up for the court appearance on the ticket, and a warrant was issued ordering that a fine be paid. The next item that you have under tab number 9 is a record from the utility department. This record, if you'll see at the top kind of right-hand side, the date of it is May the 4th of 2018, and the electric meter was pulled from the premises, and electric service was stopped May 4 of 2018. The next item that you have that the hearing officer resulted from the hearings is item number 10. This is a notice that was issued June the 21st of 2018 regarding the condition of the house being in violation of public health and welfare codes. The next page, which is not marked as a separate exhibit, but it's just the next page under item 10, is a notice that was issued for September the 9th. If you look at the second paragraph, this matter was set for hearing September the 9th of 2019 on a dilapidated structure notice. So that's when the actual dilapidation proceeding formally started, following the complaints and the tickets and so forth. Item 11 are the minutes from the hearing that was originally set for September the 9th. That hearing was continued to October the 21st, and item 11 are the October 21 minutes by the hearing officer. The gist of it was that the hearing officer gave the landowner time to clean up the property and develop a plan to either demolish the structure or rebuild it. He did not find it dilapidated in October of 2019. He didn't make that finding. He simply reserved making a decision and instructed Mr. Couch to come back at a later date with a plan to either demolish it or redevelop it. The next minutes we have, which are just the next sheets, December the 19th are the minutes from the hearing held by our hearing officer. December the 19th, the hearing officer noted that the landowner had made progress on cleaning up the property, and he requested inspection reports by a professional to determine if the house could be rebuilt or not. And again, he didn't make a finding, just reserved the issue of making a decision. The next minutes were January 23rd of 2020. Came back on in front of the hearing officer. The hearing officer advised the landowner that he still wanted a professional report. So when he came back on January 23rd, he hadn't received a report yet on the ability to repair the property. The hearing officer instructed the landowner to clean up the property and not to move things into the structure, not to be putting bicycles and motorcycles and things like that in it. And again, he didn't make a finding. He reserved his finding while he was asking for additional information. February the 6th, it came back on for another hearing. At that hearing, the hearing officer noted that cleanup of the property was much better. He was advised by the landowner that he was unable to get the structural engineering report, because the inspector could not enter the house due to mold and items that were in the way. So he was attempting to get it inspected, but the inspector said that he wouldn't go in it because of the mold and there was too much stuff in the way to do the inspection. Then came on for the last hearing in front of the hearing officer on March 26th of 2020. And at that hearing, the hearing officer reviewed the report from Knox, reviewed the report that Mr. Stout had done, and based upon the previous hearings and photographs that you're going to see here in just a minute, the hearing officer did reach a decision that the structure was dilapidated, and that's where the order was entered for the removal of the structure. So now we'll move to tab 12, which are the photographs. And I do have Officer Humphreys present tonight. I've not been in the structure. I would not typically do that, but Officer Humphreys took the pictures and he's been in the structure and he's here to answer any questions that the council might have of him. The first set of photographs under tab 12 were taken June 21 of 2018, so 2 years ago. First photo, of course, is the front of the house, but this is after the fire had occurred, about a couple of months, I guess. It was in May, I believe, when the fire occurred. The second photograph, if you have trouble seeing those photos, please tell me. But in the second photograph, you can see a section of the house that's missing, a section of the roof up at the top left of the house, which gives you an idea of the burn damage. And then the next photograph is the dumpster that was mentioned in one of the citizen complaints, sitting out back, and then you can also see the back of the house, and if your photo is good, you can see the burn marks up around the eaves. So that was June of 2018. The next photograph you have is July of 2019. So June of 18, first group we looked at, specifically note the roof. Next photograph you see is a year later, year and a month later, July of 19. And you can see the state of the roof in the house a year later. The next photograph in the packet is August 28th of 2019. So a little over a year after the last one, 2 years after the first one. You can see the condition of the roof, and then also note the materials and so forth stacked out in the drive. The next photograph you have was taken in October of 2019. You can somewhat see the roof with sheets of material laying on top of it. You can also see the burn marks underneath the sills. And then, of course, all the material stacked out in the yard. Next group of photographs are October the 31st of 2019. First photograph is an interior photograph on the property. And you'll notice that a wood-burning stove has been placed in there and stovepipe run out the back door. Next photograph is simply another interior shot of a different portion of the home. Next photograph is the same area as the first photograph. It's just taken where you can see the stove and wood-burning stove better and how that's installed. The next photograph in that group is just depicting the condition of another area in the home. So those photographs are October of 2019. Fire occurred back in May of 2018. The next group of photographs are a group of photographs taken March the 24th of 2020. First photo is just an exterior shot of the home. Second photograph is the exterior rear of the home, and you see where the stovepipes run out the back door. We saw the interior out of that earlier. The next photograph is of the roof, and the roof has been closed in. You'll notice that. The next photograph is an interior shot in the kitchen area, and you'll see the burn damage, smoke damage on the ceiling, as well as the general condition of the kitchen area. Next photograph is of the rafters in the home that had been burned. Next photograph is showing the rafters again. They don't show up real well, but the scorched rafters are in a different section of the home. And then the status of the walls. Next photograph again is of the roof rafters. Also shows a doorway kind of in the bottom right side of that picture with the burn marks around it. Next photograph in that packet is of the bathroom, depicting the condition of the bathroom in the home. Next photograph is depiction of, I believe, the garage area. Garage area in the home. And the next photograph is of a bedroom area in the home with a wood stove with a stovepipe run out the window. Excuse me? Living room area. Living room area, I'm sorry. And then the next photograph is another area of rafters. So what the hearing officer was confronted with in this situation was a 2-year process from the initial damage that occurred back in May of 18 to the condition as depicted in March of 2020. And hearing officer was applying the definitions of the statute of what a dilapidated structure is, and found it to be dilapidated, ordered its removal in the times that I referenced. One of those, the completion date still hasn't quite arrived. It's within about a week or so. If you have any questions for me, or if you have any questions for Officer Humphreys, we're here to answer them.
Who was doing the repairs on the roof and things?
I don't know the answer to that.
I believe Mr. Couch himself did the repairs on the roof. How they,
Just wondering about that. Were there any permits issued or anything to make sure that that was done correctly?
The the file didn't have any kind of building permits or anything like that having been issued. So no, there's no history of any kind of permits being issued for any of the work.
Any other questions for Mr. Ritchie or for Officer Humphreys?
Does there look to be any signs of someone staying there?
early on in the hearings, the hearing officer ordered Mr. Couch not to be staying there any longer. He'd been sleeping in the garage area where the stove first was being piped out the back door. Then later on, the stove was moved into the living room area where it was being piped out into the window, I guess, or side wall, I'm not sure. So soon after he was ordered, or was advised not to stay there any longer, Mr. Couch found residence somewhere else.
Any other questions, comments?
Can I ask Mr. Couch a question, or can I ask?
Certainly.
If you were to be contacted tomorrow and say Cherokee Nation was not able to help you, what would be your next plan if you were not able to get help?
If I was not able to get help.
Right, if Cherokee Nation denied you.
As I said, I'm working, I don't know if I mentioned tonight, but I'm working for another contractor. Trying to get my boss, try to help me start rewiring it. I know a couple of drywallers, and I would have to do drywall myself.
Is there a reason why you haven't done that already, or haven't tried to before?
Well, it was, yeah, I don't know what to do, when I reach our, they were there for it this year.
That's the unfortunate part of that.
It seems our abatement officer was really going out of his way to help you guys. I mean, 2 years, 2 years. And, Cherokee Nation, I can talk to you later about help with Cherokee Nation. I can point you in the right direction. We also they have their offices here in Pryor, Cherokee Heights, for those type of things. Plus, we have Cherokee Heights, it's based on your income, where you can have a place to stay. And I've known someone who's gone through the rehabilitation of their home, and while they're being rehabilitated, they put them up at Cherokee Heights. The resources are there, and they're easy. You got to go make the phone call, though. All you have to do is call Cherokee Nation, tell them what your issue is, and they will get you to the department that you need. It's that easy. And I feel for you, but 2 years, it could have been done. If you'd come by and talk to me, I could have helped you out.
Mr. Ritchie, so I clearly understand our options. You mentioned there's 3. 2 of them I clearly understand. If we were to hold the dilapidated ruling and adjust the timeframes, what would that look like, just so we understand that?
Sure. Yeah, so the 3 options, just to summarize them again. Number 1, affirm the order of the hearing officer. And the hearing officer said it's dilapidated, and he said start removing it by April the 27th, finish by May 27th, I believe, is what the order says. So that's one option, is just say we affirm what he did. The second option is to reverse his finding, in which case you'd say this is not a dilapidated structure, he was wrong. And then it'd be done, landowner would have his property, we'd be out of it. The third option is that you could say we affirm that this property is a dilapidated structure, but we're gonna set new time periods. So under your new time period, you're to have your work started by X date and finished by X date to abate this dilapidation. If the work is not completed by the deadline date, then the city of Pryor has the authority under the law to go ahead and move in and remove the structure. And that's how we get these dilapidation liens. We would hire a contractor to go in and remove it. It would cost the city money, and then we would be filing a lien on the property. Landowner would still own the property, but we would have a lien on that property for what it cost for us to abate the structure.
I'd like to go back over what I previously said. Looking at the pictures and going forward and hearing what this gentleman had to say, I think we ought to go ahead with maybe option 3, but for safety factors and the damage that I see in the rafters and stuff, and it's not just a matter of putting up new sheetrock and painting the building and going on and with electrical. I think it'd be better off if he contacted Cherokee Nation and see if they'd come and build him a new house, is what I'm thinking.
Yes, that's another option too, especially if he already has a lot. That makes it easier.
So if someone has a motion to affirm or a
You
motion.
gotta come out of public hearing first, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But we'll come out, you'll do a motion to affirm, or you'll do a motion to reverse, or you'll do a motion to affirm that it is a dilapidated structure and set new dates.
I'd like to make the
So,
motion.
first of all, we need to come out of public hearing.
Yeah. Yes.
So, motion to come out to exit public hearing.
Make that motion.
Motion Chitwood, second Nance, call for vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nam,
Yes.
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 What is the pleasure of council regarding item 1, 2, or 3?
I'd like to make a motion for option 3.
Second.
There's motion
What will
option.
your dates be?
Dates.
Yeah.
Set the dates.
We need to set the
You need to
dates.
establish the dates.
We need to establish dates.
I think you'd need to establish time frame, wouldn't you, Mr. Ritchie?
Need to start at a starting date and an ending
Yes,
date
yep.
for the abatement.
You need to start that, because at the end of that date, you'll have to go in and clear the property. If you doesn't, they give you the date, so. My suggestion is, given the same amount of time that COVID's been going on for 90 days, get with Cherokee Nation, and at that point in time, we may have a letter back from the Cherokee Nation stating that they're gonna go in and tear it down and build him a new property, and so then we'll have some guidance to Cherokee Nation. In 90 days, Cherokee Nation will have an answer to him, if he goes to follow the procedure.
Maybe.
Well, but,
Yeah, I was gonna say
but, you know what I'm saying, but they'll correspondence, and we can, so he should have some answers back from Cherokee Nation. So,
So 90 days from today's date
To start or to finish?
to start,
to start.
About from June 1, make it.
Well, if we adjust the timeline to make up for the last 90 days, that would put it.
I'd say starting as June 1st, extending for 90 days from June 1st, whatever date that would be on the calendar. Eva might be able to tell us they don't have a calendar.
So start date would be June 1st, counting 90 days forward,
Yes, and that'd be calendar days.
90 calendar days forward, yes.
So what would that ending date be, Eva? Oh, you don't have a calendar? I'm
It's
sorry.
all right,
What?
August 31st.
August 31st?
August 31st.
All right. Thank you. Steve, is that okay with you?
It's fine with me.
Part of your motion? Okay.
So the motion, item 3, affirm dilapidation with revisions to time for removal. This would affirm that the property is dilapidated and order is its removal, but revise the required time for the landowner to commence and complete the removal of the structure. And the date will begin, the time period begin June 1st and August 31st. Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Second.
Is there a second? Nance, other discussion? Might say, Mr. Couch, that I think you hear the spirit of the council. You hear the spirit of the council. Also, the spirit of the citizens would be, we have to be able to do what is good for the citizens. We have to be able to do that. And we are prepared to do that, whatever that is. We'd like to encourage you to move forward, as has been suggested. There is not anybody on this council that would not like to assist you. But we do have to see action. We do have to see action. So let me encourage you that direction.
I think I said this before, but it has been very difficult to have conversations with the Cherokee Nation because they closed their offices for the virus.
June 1st is,
And so that's getting ready to pop open.
Yeah.
And things can start happening.
So perhaps you can get some things done within that 90-day period.
We've been having to find people that would happen to come in and check their phone logs, things like that, which is not really.
Okay, so all of those things may be present, but the action of council tonight will be the 90 days. Call for vote,
Can I ask one other question?
please.
Eva, can you make sure this goes on the agenda for the 90 days to make sure, Larry might put that on the agenda for that first meeting in September? That way we'll have whatever it is.
Thank you.
Yep. Sorry, Larry.
It's all right. Call for vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
Petra,
yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Rexroth,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Motion carries. I'd like to offer a 5-minute recess. We've been at it over 2 hours. We'll reconvene
I've got to eat some words too.
we'll reconvene at 8:16. Please go get a drink of water, use the restroom, whatever you need to do.
You're hungry?
Need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Come on.
I didn't think you'd go this long.
Granddaughter's birthday.
Is it really? I'd go with my granddaughter's birthday, everything else was done. I'd be
Probably,
gone.
it's probably over with by now.
I'd be headed, I wouldn't be, I'd be doing your late.
Well,
Yeah, I
if
should
I'd
have.
listened to the
Where's-
doctor, I wouldn't have been,
Been here at all?
yeah, because I'm not supposed to be around anybody, not even go to work till after I have this done Friday.
I wouldn't have been here. Granddaughter's birthday, mine.
It's only like 2 carbs.
Sitting a while.
15
Yeah.
What did you say you're going in for surgery? Surgery?
It's biopsy. Checking cancer.
Oh, great. Mom had that done today.
I have my surgery Thursday, and then the oncologist says, you don't go to work, you don't be around anybody, you wear a mask wherever you go, stay home.
Stay healthy.
I said, maybe come in and take a COVID test before they'll do it.
No, that makes sense.
And if it's positive, they're gonna tell me not to show up.
Then you're in trouble. Yeah. Eesh. Mess.
So,
Mess. What kind of eye surgery you having now?
this is just gonna be the lens replacement, because where they reattached the retina, and then they did a vitrectomy where they replaced the fluid in my eye because there was so much blood, scar tissue floating around, my body would absorb it. Well, that caused the cataract to grow within like 2 months, so it's like, you take 3 sheets and scratch the this together, and that's all I can see out of my left eye.
Oh. Is all that fluid and everything in there? Is all the fluid and everything? Yeah.
So, one step at a time.
Yeah.
I won't be able to see it, and I got this other deal going on, and I wanna get over to this, cause I wanna get my neck worked on, cause I'm tired of my arms just, this one here hasn't really been working, and I'm holding stuff good tonight, but normally it's,
Because of your neck? Oh. Good, great.
I go to do something and it doesn't listen, it goes where it wants to, I'll go pick something up and I think I'm holding it tight.
You're not.
No, I'll take the cup go like this. Or pick it up about that high and just slap. Or I hold it, so I was holding my cup and it wasn't strong enough and it just rolled on.
Good, great.
Life is good.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
The other attempts that were made in the early times,
Feel my sunburn coming through right now. Got my sun today. I thought I put some sunscreen on, but I didn't put enough. I could feel the heat emanating off of me.
You wanna go ahead and sign that?
we were trying to find anybody to answer the issues. Yeah. They were the ones that.
Lord, I was extremely anxious, I heard you say yes.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I don't know where we're at in agenda.
Huh?
Trying to figure out where we were at in agenda.
We're still on this,
Lost
city
track.
attorney's report. We're on B and C.
There we go, I missed a page.
B and C.
But the J office told me that once the application was in, they would not no longer discuss.
8:16. I don't have
So, and then I'll go ahead and write my number on here again. Okay.
What's his name?
On patrol, I stop off county authority.
Bill, he's one did talk, Bill Smith. Bill Smith, that's correct.
He's looking at that.
You got him looking at it, he's the expert in the nation.
So he's looking at it right
What do you think? I'm ready for pizza or something, aren't you? Something.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
the
when it
number one
tear you
guy.
up.
Whenever I left, he was the number one guy.
I can eat about anything, about any time. It just really don't matter.
When you talk to him, tell him I said hi and his wife, hey, tell him, and his wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Smart as he is. Oh, my goodness. Her and I are the ones put together, turn around, don't drown. Her and I was the ones who put that, together, that turn around.
Okay, now I remember. You told me that.
That's right, her and I put that.
That's the
and
one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is that,
Hey, Terry, wake up.
I didn't look at that address too close. Is that Norwood? Oh. Fourth.
I've seen him a lot. Now that March picture, there's a bunch of stuff out of off of
Can you, hey, Larry, you got a question?
Out of the front.
I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah,
inside.
These things right here, these things right here for, O through S, I don't know if they're gonna be here.
it'd be cheaper to knock it down.
We really don't have any.
Okay, Cherokee Nation may come in and tear it down the end.
We really don't have any.
Probably.
I knocked over somebody first.
Whatever.
You know, you're a single man now. Yes, I do.
Been bid by the COVID. You might want to check, see that temperature.
Well, hopefully some.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin.
Oh, yeah, I missed you a whole bunch. Like,
We'll now resume our meeting.
I have several answers,
You have what?
several answers to that,
No question.
and they're fun and good.
Okay, we're going to resume. Mr. Ritchie, would you like to?
Sure. Item B, discussion and possible action concerning the July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021 collective bargaining agreement between the City of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma and the Pryor Police Lodge Number 116 of the FOP.
Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Okay.
Motion, Shropshire, second, Chitwood. Discussion.
can you tell us what the changes are, what the modifications were?
There were hardly any.
I know, but can you, we'd
I
like to.
can't
know-
even remember what they
We'd
are
like to
off the
know,
top of my head.
I'd like to think,
There was a change in longevity pay, a slight change in longevity pay.
That-
There
when you
was
say
a-
slight change, it was, yeah, it was a change, okay.
Well, it went from $5 to $10 on one of those ranges. And then on the COLA, there was a 2%. Is it 2%?
It's a 2% offer for a cost of living increase, yes.
So we,
Now, on the printed copy that we have, the longevity pay was not changed. And so on the printed copy, it may be a Scribner's error, but the, on page 22 of the FOP collective bargaining agreement, in that first paragraph, the $2.50 needs to be changed to $5, and the $5 needs to be changed to $10. That level matches what is the longevity pay for the fire department guys. So I want to be sure that we understand that.
Was there any pay, and was there any changes in, special ops or anything like that? I didn't read it all. Special,
I don't recall any changes in that.
No.
And Mayor, let me.
Like, yeah, no. No, don't wanna be.
I was not part of the bargaining team
Okay.
this year.
Okay.
So what I did was I received the document when it was done and put it in the form. And that's why I'm not as fresh on some of those things as I used to be.
So as far as stating what any of those changes are, does committee recall any of those changes?
There was no discussions on.
Do you know what they were, Choya?
Yes.
Can you tell us what those changes
Hang
were?
on just a second, I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row here.
Might say while he's looking for that
Okay.
the committee and the representatives from FOP all were in perfect agreement. And
It said, one of the things on the fire was in,
we're on
police, excuse me. Article 12, Section 5, it says Exhibit B is included in the conclusion of this document to show each member's rank as of the contract and approximate date each rank was designated. So that was agreed to put that at the end of it, at the end of the document. So you have sort of a seniority list there. Article 25, work period, Section 6, or excuse me, they made Section 7 out of it. Paid time off for vacation time, holiday, sick leave, union leave under Article 10, and bereavement leave shall be counted as hours worked toward the Fair Labor Standards Act overtime hours threshold.
and we added Section 7.
We added Section
Yes.
7.
And that's basically the same thing the fire department has.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then Article, let's see, hang on just a second here. I am right there. Okay. Article 28, Section 8, the members of bargaining unit who are required to use personal cell phones while on duty shall receive $40 per month toward the cost of the same, subject to the approval of the chief of police. It was $30.
Okay.
That was a change. And the next.
That was Article 28, you said?
Yes, sir. Article, Section 8.
Section 8 of 28, yes, I see it.
Okay. And 24. Okay, Article 33, compensation under Section 2. Now, this is a little different than what we actually talked about in the meeting. It says, in rare instances, in the absence of a shift supervisor, a senior patrolman has to work as acting supervisor. He or she shall be compensated an additional, what we talked about was 64 cents per hour, but it changed to corporal pay is the way it was written in the way that was written up. Is that correct?
That is
Okay.
correct.
All right. So that was the changes that we had in the police department.
All right, so I haven't, okay,
Thank you, Council Trammell. Any other questions?
no, nothing, not at this point. I'll have some
Any
more on the
discussion?
fire department, I'm sure. May I make a suggestion? And, you know, a few years ago, when Mr. Ritchie did it, he would always mark out what was, then highlight, put it was the difference, that way we could see it in the contract when, you know, when we got the contract. He would say, like 30 to 40, he would mark an X through the 30 and put 40 beside it, so we know what the old went, where it went to the new, or highlight the new ones, and I suggest, you know, I'd like to see that, if
Yeah,
possible.
you would strike through and then put in different colors, and make it easy to.
Make it easy to see what the change.
That was done, it's just apparently nobody has it here tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, that was done, on our copies, but those were not the copies that were printed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? There's a motion. Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
And did we note the Scribner's error?
I noted the Scribner's error. Yes.
Yeah.
Eva, please note the Scribner's error on
Longevity.
on the longevity pay.
Yeah.
That is on page 22 of the FOP contract. Mr. Ritchie.
Yes, sir. Item C is the discussion of possible action concerning July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021, collective bargaining agreement between the City of Pryor Creek and Pryor Fire International Association of Firefighters.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion?
Again, I'll ask Mr. Choya to tell us what the changes was.
Okay, it looks like what we decided to do, Article 10, Section 2, that'd be on page 10, and increase the single employee maximum from $685 to $700, and increase family member maximum from $1,500, and we just decided that was where it was gonna stay at $1,500.
Okay.
So that was that one. Article 11, Section 1, replacement of damaged goods. Watches damaged or lost while on scene in the performance of their duties to remain at $150. Cell phones damaged or lost on scene in performance of their duties to be increased from $150 to $300. And that was okayed with the approval of the chief or the supervisor. All right, Article 17. Article 17 was an increase in incentive pay from $125 to $150 was no, and there was a.
Which section is that?
Article 17, incentive pay.
Yeah, Article 17, section,
I don't have a section on there. What we decided to do was keep it at 125 and give 4 maximum. What do we call
It
that?
says 150 on mine.
It says increase to, well,
so increase to 150, and then section 8
was max,
has the 4 incentive certifications pursuant to Article 17.
okay. So increase from 125 to 150,
Correct.
and then 4 max.
So,
Okay.
okay, correct, 125 to 150, okay.
And COLA increase was 2%.
Okay.
Article 15, hours and time exchanged. Just going backwards in it.
Now, did their longevity increase also? It wasn't that way before, was it? It didn't.
Their longevity was that way before.
That's coming up next on Article 18. Article 15, it says, add new wording to read, paged out callbacks will be a 2-hour minimum. And what they were wanting to do was if you're away from home, or you're away from the fire department, you've already gone home, you're at the end of your shift, and they have a situation in such that you need to be called back for that, then you get a 2-hour minimum of a callback, which that was talked about. That was okay.
That's section 11.
Article 15,
Article 15.
Article 15, section 11.
Section 11, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And the one I have here, I don't have that one on there. That was added to it. Okay, and Article 18, Section 2, longevity pay. I think we have that on,
That's on page 19.
yeah, that was the one we were given. also the corrections for inside of the manual. Section 2, longevity pay. Each employee covered by items of this article beginning upon successful completion of 5 years of continuous and uninterrupted employment as a unit member of the City of Pryor Creek Fire Department shall receive monthly longevity compensation in the amount of $5 per month for each year of continuous service. All bargaining unit members beginning upon successful completion of 10 years of continuous and uninterrupted employment of the City of Pryor Creek Fire Department shall receive compensation in the amount of $10 per month for each year of continuous service. Longevity rates are set forth in Appendix B and to be paid bi-weekly. Longevity paid is subject to federal, state, and FICA taxes.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's the end. Well, we had one on new hires. The one on new hires says that
Which article?
there wasn't an article on that when we got it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think we added,
It's added as a new.
Article 24.
Yeah,
Article 24.
that would be Article 24, Section 1, 2, 3, and 4.
okay. I don't have that up on my computer right now, so let's see.
You want a copy of it?
Oh, I've
I
got
got
it,
it
but
right
I
here.
just didn't have it.
He's got a copy of it in his pack.
Yeah. Have you got it there where you can read it?
Yeah, Article 24, new hires probationary firefighters. Section 1, new hired employees regardless of qualifications shall be subject to a 12-month probationary period after which they will be evaluated on their performance for continued employment. The probationary period may be extended upon the recommendation of the captain and the approval of the chief or assistant chief. Section 2, new hired employees shall acquire EMR and Firefighter 1 certifications before the expiration of their 12-month probation period. Okay, there's shall acquires in there twice, so you'll have to correct that.
Yeah, we'll correct that, thank you.
Section 3, new hired employees classified as probationary firefighter that have not acquired an EMR or higher level and/or Firefighter 1 certification shall be hired at Step 1 pay scale. New hired employees that possess both an EMR or higher and Firefighter 1 certification shall be hired at Step 2 pay scale. Section 4, new hired employees shall be afforded the opportunity to acquire a minimum of 4 certifications which qualify for incentives paid within 2 years from the date of hire. Okay, thank you. All right,
Thank you, Choya, for bringing your notes.
and these go into effect July 1, is it,
That's correct.
to the new budget year, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thanks for the, and I want to say thank you for the committee and everybody to get this done, and so, only thing I would say is, do we know what's gonna cost us for this? Do we have a cost on what's gonna cost, a budget cost? Do you have any idea what a budget cost? But so, if you
No.
do, don't have to give it to, I just like to know what it is for the budget cost.
I'll be very happy to share that with
Okay.
you at a later date.
The other thing I would like to see is if 2% and longevity, I'd like to see that, budget committee and you, Larry, to give that to the rest of the employees, to look at possibly giving that to the rest of the employees throughout the city.
So that is the plan, and
Okay.
that is
I just,
being considered.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, call for vote.
Yes.
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 All right, item 6, discussion and possible action on consent agenda. Item A, approve minutes of May 5, 2020 council meeting. Item B, approve payroll purchase orders through May 29, 2020. Item C, approve claims for purchase orders through May 19, 2020. Item D, acknowledge receipt of deficient purchase orders. Item E, approve April appropriation requests. Item F, discussion possible action regarding accepting a donation of $5,000 from Counselor Janice Taylor of the Cherokee Nation to the Pryor Creek Police Department to donations account 969655510. Item G, discussion possible action regarding allowing the closure of Graham Avenue between Hogan and Adair Street from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Friday, May 22nd, 2020, for a senior parade honoring the graduating seniors of Pryor High School. Item H, discussion possible action regarding approving city engineer to develop specifications and seek bids for Pool Zero Entry project at the Pryor Creek Recreation Center. Excuse me. Item I, discussion possible action regarding accepting bids for roof repair at the Pryor Creek Recreation Center and awarding the work to Dawson Roofing Incorporated as low bid of $9,995 from repair and maintenance account 848455091. Other bids received: Lemus Roofing Incorporated, $11,200, and Arco Roofing Construction LLC, $14,000. Item J, discussion possible action to approve purchasing of Clorox Total 360 system from Masco at a cost of $3,995 at the Pryor Creek Recreation Center from Capital Outlay Equipment Account 848455410. Other quotes received: Dobmeyer Janitorial Supply, $6,300, and Industrial Soap Company, $5,990. Item K, discussion possible action to approve Pryor Creek Recreation Center job titles, descriptions, and pay plans. Item L, discussion possible action regarding City of Pryor Creek bidding on property owned by Paul H. Adair, Robert B. Adair, 702 Southeast First Street, Pryor Creek, Oklahoma, property ID 1001-00-004-0-001-00, base ID 16391, legal description, Pryor Original Block 44, West 70-foot Lot 4 in an amount not to exceed $3,066.94 at the sale of real estate for delinquent tax to be held on June 8, 2020 at 9 a.m. at the Mays County Courthouse Treasurer's Office. John P. Adair, Jeannie M. Caldwell, Lucy A. Petty. Item M, discussion possible action regarding City of Pryor Creek bidding on property owned by Wanda Duckwald, 421 Southeast 4th Street, Pryor Creek, Oklahoma, property ID 1350-00-022-0-001-001-00, base ID 18241, legal description, Pryor Heights Edition, Block 1, Lot 22, in an amount not to exceed $11,546.50 at the state of real estate for delinquent tax to be held June 8, 2020 at 9 a.m. at the Mays County Courthouse Treasurer's Office. Item N, discussion possible action regarding expenditure in the amount of $9,000 to Upcurve Cloud for the G-Site base annual lease subscription from May 12, 2020 to May 11, 2021 from the general software account 022015260. Item O, discussion possible action regarding renewal of life insurance from Mutual of Omaha. Item P, discussion possible action regarding renewal vision insurance from VSP. Item Q, discussion possible action regarding renewal of dental insurance through Delta Dental. Item R, discussion possible action regarding continuation of voluntary life, short-term disability, and long-term disability coverage, Mutual of Omaha. Item S, discussion possible action regarding removing Brown & Brown from the administrative services for COBRA and the city assuming administrative services. Item T, discussion possible action regarding adoption of limited English proficiency policy for the city of Pryor Creek. That is the consent agenda. Are there items council wish to remove?
A, K, L, and M.
A, K, L, and M.
Yes.
And F?
Like to remove item F. Are there any others? Hearing none, I entertain a motion. You have one? You have one, Catcher?
The last one, T.
T.
Item T. I'd entertain a motion to approve all of those items that were not removed by council.
I'll make a motion.
Motion Breakfield, second Smith. Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Item A, approved minutes, May 5, 2020 council meeting. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion? Call for vote.
Yes.
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 Abstain.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Item F, discussion possible action regarding accepting a donation of $5,000 from Counselor Janice Taylor and the Cherokee Nation, I'm sorry, we pronounce her name Janice Taylor, and the Cherokee Nation to the Pryor Creek Police Department for two donations, account 96-965-5510. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion?
I'd like to say thank you to Janice Taylor and the Cherokee Nation. They're great partners and appreciate them very much. Thank you.
Hear, hear. Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Abstain?
Yes.
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 Item K, discussion possible action to approve Pryor Creek Recreation Center job titles, descriptions, and pay plans. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Shropshire. Discussion.
Yeah, I have a question for the director. I noticed under the assistant director, it does not say, I don't know if you meant, and we talked about this, or equal some kind, it just says bachelor's degree in exercise science required. It doesn't say, like in some of the others, you say that,
Or equivalent.
or equivalent. Did you mean to leave that off in that one, or just leave it like it is? It has exercise science, physical education, kinesiology, related field preferred.
I have a copy over there.
Okay. So you meant, you didn't want that, or just like it reads?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I got no, other than that, I would like,
The other ones, I mean, like with the fitness and the aquatics one, they have to have like those other.
you're running, you're hiring them.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'd like to say,
Okay, one second. The original list that was put in the packet?
Yeah.
Is that the one you're looking on?
I'm looking at the one she just gave us.
Okay. The one that she just gave us has not been considered by her board. And the one that is in the packet is the one that was approved by her board and was sent to council. So because the one that she just handed us today, was it approved by your board?
I mean, Choi and I spoke on the phone last night, and we just made a couple adjustments to the requirements, like, I guess, defining those better for like more clarification for you guys, but I mean, there's no, no major adjustments have been made.
I agree that, that adjustments, were made, but it would be considered to be out of order because what we sent to council was what was approved by your board. And so the adjustments have not been approved by your board. So I would entertain a motion.
We may need to table it to get this before her board before we can.
Yes, I think that would be proper procedure to do that. I appreciate your intentions to clarify. I do, but we need to follow the proper protocol to do that. So I entertain the motion that we table this item to be considered next meeting.
Amend my motion to table.
Motion to table Chitwood. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Second. Shropshire?
Yes.
Very good. Any more discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Motion carries to table. Item,
We're gonna put it back on the agenda for next,
next meeting,
okay.
next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, item L.
Well, that is if the rec board meets before the next meeting, and then shouldn't it go to budget again then?
Would not be necessary to go to budget. It would be necessary for rec board to consider and then send a new recommendation to council. So you got I think you got a rec board meeting scheduled this next week, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Item L, discussion possible action regarding City of Pryor Creek bidding on property owned, Paul H. Adair, Robert B. Adair, 702 Southeast First Street, Pryor Creek, Oklahoma, property ID ending in 00, base ID 16391, legal description, Pryor Original Block 44 West, 70-foot Lot 4 in an amount not to exceed $3,066.94 at the sale of real estate for delinquent tax to be held on June 8, 2020 at 9 a.m. at the Mays County Courthouse, Treasurer's Office, John P. Adair, Jeannie M. Caldwell, Lucy A. Petty. Is there a motion?
Can I ask the city attorney before we make a motion on this one? Because it's clarification in Robert's rules of how we have to make a motion. This was voted on at the last count. This was turned down. So does somebody that voted in the affirmative to vote it down have to make the motion in second to bring it back to the table?
Yes.
Okay, so somebody somebody that voted yes will have to make the motion and be seconded, and then it can be discussed. So whoever voted yes to.
I believe Councilor Trammell, you voted yes.
I voted. Yeah, did I vote?
You
yes?
voted yes.
I voted
The rest of us voted
Okay, then I'll make the motion, and I think Mr. Nance made this. So Mr. Nance, can I ask you to make a second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
All right, Mr. Ritchie?
I believe so.
You're right.
Huh?
You're right.
Okay, okay,
Robert's Rules of Order.
thank you.
Very good. I chose to put this back on the agenda because I did not feel like that we had sufficient discussion, nor did we have sufficient information at the time. So therefore, I decided to put it back on the agenda. I do have some numbers. If y'all are interested, if you want to jot down numbers on the Adair property, if we do this transaction on the Adair property, our investment in that property will be $3,034.69. If we do the transaction on the Adair property. If we do the transaction on the Duckwald property, after the transaction, our investment will be $7,256.50.
Okay.
So doing that math, I have an opinion about it. Some don't share my opinion, and that's all right. That's all right. We have an opportunity to acquire the property for the purpose of making the property productive for the citizens and for the county. So we acquire the property, then we have the ability to deed the property over to the Economic Development Trust Authority, then who would have the ability then to offer that property for sale, make some kind of decision about the property, and would be able then to make a recommendation back to council regarding that property. So that would be the plan. My opinion is that, and I know you've asked, my opinion is that the main thing is not necessarily the amount of investment that we would have in the property after the transaction. The main thing that I'm interested in is turning those properties into something that's productive for our town, for our citizens.
And this is provided that we get the bid on the property at the sale.
That is correct. So, the initial, one of the hurry-up reasons why that was on last council meeting was so that we can meet that deadline of June the 8th.
Yeah.
So, that same conversation is with the next item, item M, which we're not discussing right now.
So I actually voted against doing this last time, but something I didn't take into consideration as carefully as I should have is the fact that if we don't take hold of this property, we can actually lose it. Somebody else, or the county, is my understanding, can come in and take this property and do with it what they please, whether that's something or nothing.
At a later time, that's correct.
Yeah, so, I mean, for that simple fact, but I would think that this would be even more urgent to try and obtain these properties.
And the other thing I'd like to see done is this should be part of a policy. You know, the other thing I'd like to see this part of a policy in the future for the EDA Trust Authority, this right here become a policy that we just, I don't know if it can be written that way, that when we do this, we automatically give it to the trust at that point in time, but as a policy. And that way we don't have to go through this process every time. That way we don't have to go through this motion second every time, so.
Well, we would, as far as going to the county and
I understand it, but I'm saying deeding it over to the trust, once we buy that, that become a policy. Yeah, so I think it's a great idea. Okay.
other discussion?
Yeah,
Mr. Ketcher and I had,
last time.
yeah, you and I had a conversation about it today. He came in my office, and after that conversation, I went and crunched numbers. I went into our city clerk's office and crunched numbers. So the numbers that I just spoke of are not the numbers that I told you today. Those are not the numbers that I told you today. So I just wanted to clarify that in that conversation.
Well, I think now that we have a way of getting rid of these properties, I could be on board with this.
Yep.
I agree.
Other discussion? Call for vote?
Yes.
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 Item M, discussion and possible action regarding the city of Pryor Creek bidding on property owned by Wanda Duckwald, 421 Southeast 4th Street, Pryor, Oklahoma. Pryor Creek, Oklahoma, property ID ending in 00, base ID 18241. Legal description, Pryor Heights Edition, Block 1, Lot 22, in an amount not to exceed $11,546.50 at the sale of real estate for delinquent tax to be held June 8, 2020 at 9 a.m. at the Mays County Courthouse Treasurer's Office. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Motion Chitwood. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, this would come under the same guidelines of the last motion, Mayor.
Yeah, I just gonna say, I need to make the motion and Mr. Nance needs to make the second. I was gonna
Correct.
say that. Yes, I'm not gonna do it.
Motion,
Yes.
second.
I was getting-
Yes.
Thanks.
Motion Trammell, second Nance. Discussion. Hearing none, call for vote.
Yes.
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 Item T, discussion possible action regarding adoption of a limited English proficiency policy for the city of Pryor Creek.
I'll make that motion.
Motion Smith, second Chitwood. Discussion.
My question is the cost. Is there a service out there that we're looking at to find translators?
No. Well, if we did need a translator, then yes, there would be a cost for that, whatever the going rate for that translator would be. So if we had if someone made the request for a translator, then we would be bound to honor that request. If someone made a request for signing, we would be bound to honor that request. This policy is not, help me, Eva, it's not different than policy we've had before.
We're adding some language to is requiring that we have some language in there regarding this. And so they recommended this language and just a document to put it under policy.
For council's information, one of the things that we have done recently, we have sent all of our personnel policies to Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group to do a review. And so their attorney has done a review, and they have made several suggestions that we will come back to council with over time. So this is, this is one of those suggestions. Also, we will come up for an audit with this Violence Against Women organization, and so this was one of the first ones that we decided to place on the agenda. Questions, discussion? Call for vote.
Yes.
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 I seem to have lost that page.
After 3 hours, I wonder why.
I'm curious, did someone take it?
Yeah, right. Mikey did it.
Mike, oh, I found it. Eureka. Okay, item 7, committee reports, budget personnel,
Be June the 9th.
June the 9th. Y'all come. Item B, ordinance insurance,
June the 1st.
June the 1st.
Bring your lunch.
Bring your lunch, yeah. Item C, street committee.
We have a meeting next week. I don't know if we have anything on the agenda yet.
All right. Very good. Item 8, unforeseeable business. I do have an item of unforeseeable business, and it has to do with the petition from the audience right at the beginning of the meeting. So what I would like for council to consider, discussion and possible action regarding opening Whitaker Park on May the 30th in conjunction with hosting the Northeast Oklahoma Freedom Tour's first annual Northeast Oklahoma Freedom Tour Barbecue Cook-Off.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith.
What utilities are they gonna need to be able to do that?
They're gonna need the restroom open. They will be self-sustaining as far as their, as far as the cooking, doing their cook-off. They'll bring their own equipment to do that.
I was just wondering, they're gonna need electricity for anything? They're gonna have a stage up there, they need power for PA systems, or?
That has not been requested. If you refer back to Wayne Perigo's petition from the audience at the beginning of the meeting, they were scheduled at the fairgrounds,
Right.
and they had been confirmed a date of the 30th, May the 30th, and the county came back and canceled that. I don't know why. We don't know why. Phase 3 of the Open Up and Recover Safely program put forth by the government, or by the governor, is to start on June the 1st. Opening the park for this item on the 30th, I think is appropriate. We are scheduled to open at the park on the 30th or on the 1st anyway, to take all the barriers down from all of the equipment and completely open up the park. So it made sense to me to request of council to go ahead and open up on the 30th and to be able to accommodate this Freedom Tour. I don't remember exactly what he said, but there's almost 100 bikers who have committed, people coming in from Texas, coming in from Arkansas, and also the people participating in the barbecue cook-off have all confirmed. So it seems to me to be the right thing to be able to accommodate them, so.
I have an unforeseeable business. I would add, like you, you told me today that you learned about the purchase order process.
Let's go.
I thought you were done with that.
Yeah, we have a motion.
I'm sorry.
We have a motion here, so we need to go ahead and consider this motion. Is there any other discussion or questions about the motion? All right. Call for vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Yes.
So I will contact Mr. Perigo this evening after the meeting. Might need to wake him up. And plan on getting more information from him, and also contact our Parks Department to let them know. By the way, this did bypass our Parks Department, so they had no idea of it. But for the purpose of time, then I wanted to consider this. Council Trammell, you had.
Wait, I learned today about the COVID finances, and we're gonna get reimbursed for some of the COVID finances under unforeseeable, I don't know if it's unforeseeable, but there'll be no action, but can you explain to what you learned today, or
Yes.
and about, because it has to do with our finances and our budget, and how this gonna.
Yes, what
Yeah.
I can tell you are two things, organizationally speaking, and what I know about the reimbursement. There's a point of contact, one of the deputy clerks in our office, point of contact about gathering up those invoices and those expenses from the beginning of the emergency, the COVID emergency. So there are many expenses that our city has incurred as a result of preparing for the pandemic and dealing with the pandemic. And those expenses, they cover a wide range of items, from anywhere from masks to hand sanitizer to the equipment that Rachel Sordahl has ordered for the rec center. All of those things fall under those guidelines. Also, labor guidelines, for instance, going down to the park and stringing the labor that's involved in preparing the park with barriers, taking down equipment, and we can document all of those things, turn those things in. Whatever we've done at the library, all of those, and what we do is we document and verify by invoice, so that we can turn that in to the agency. We have created an account with the state, and that account has our name on it, and throughout the end of this year, starting in June and then through December, there will be reimbursement available for us through that fund. So it's important for us to be able to take advantage of that. Thank you, Council Trammell, for bringing that up. Any questions about that? Very good. You notice I've got the gift of gab, and so you asked me a question, and I just keep talking. Sorry about that. Any other unforeseen business? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ketcher does that just about every time. There's a motion second to adjourn. Call for vote.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Very good. Prior Public Works Authority will call to order. Item 2, approve minutes of May 5, 2020 meeting. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion Smith, second Brakefield. Call for vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Abstain.
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Item 3, unforeseeable business. Hearing none. Item 4, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Smith. Call for vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
I would like to thank Brown & Brown for staying the duration. Much appreciated. We are